everyone, happy Tuesday. Double checking to make sure everything's working, not seeing it yet, but I'm sure it will. I am April Davis with April Davis Creations. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I live in Spring Hill, Kansas. Today, Tuesday, 2 o'clock is my Facebook Live to-go class. So those of you that are visiting me for the first time or finding me for the first time, a to-go class is simply that. I teach you the class is free, but if you want the class to go, meaning the kit, then you can get the kit for free by placing an order in my online store. And I'm gonna go ahead and put up my aprildaviscreations.com website. All the information is out there on that website. So welcome. If you're here live, please do say hello. If you're watching the replay, say hello as well and let me know where you're watching from. I love having you guys join me. And also for those of you that are not aware, I do actually upload this to YouTube, so you can watch the replay later on YouTube if you don't find it on Facebook. So again, welcome. Thank you for joining me. So many things to talk about. I know I say that every single time, but there are so many things to talk about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to join you from my desktop, and just a few things that I want to go over, and then I've got some show and tell stuff that I want to do too. But the first thing I want to touch on, because this is something that is happening for the entire month of October, and we have an amazing, amazing, amazing starter kit special. So regardless of whether you're interested in joining just to get the crazy opportunity to pay $35 and get $125 in product of your choice, if you're looking for a fun crafting community, this is the place. If you're looking to start a business, this is the place too. I'm not going to dwell on this because I've been talking about it in every video, so you guys are probably well aware of it. But I do want to say that if you don't have a demonstrator that you're working with and you have been thinking about doing something like this, even if it's to get the discount or just to get the free product this time around, I would be honored if you chose the Stamp About team to join. So again, more information on aprildaviscreations.com. Okay, now I want to talk to you about, hi Mom, thank you for joining. I want to talk to you about the Stampin' Up Facebook page. If you're not following the Stampin' Up Facebook page, go out and follow it. There's lots and lots of fun stuff going on out there. I've been sharing with you previously that Stampin' Up has started teaching classes, and this particular one is done from their Facebook page, and it is free. It's a free virtual class. So I tried to put the information here, but if you go out to the Stampin' Up Facebook page, you'll find it. But it talks about something magical coming. I love magical. And they want to highlight this kit. It's called the Nutcracker Tags Kit. And I just wanted to show you, I just got mine today, just today. But you make, looks like 3, 6, 9, 12 tags. And they are so pretty. You can't tell from the picture, but I'm going to try to help you guys to see. Look at all the sparkle. If you are Nutcracker fans or just love creating things for the holidays, handmade things for the holidays, this would be a fun kit for you to participate in. And this is free. You have to buy the kit, but the class in itself is free. And I don't know what magical means as far as what they are going to provide. But when you get your kit, you get, all the pieces that you need. It's all inclusive. And then you get all the instructions to put your kit together. So coming soon, this is actually, let me see if I can see the date again. This is on November the 12th. So go out if you're interested and check it out. Okay, so that's that. I want to talk about Paper Pumpkin. I got some more insight into the November Paper Pumpkin kit. October's kit closed, and registration for that has closed. This is for November, but it's wrapped in cheer, and cheer is in a check pattern. I'm seeing it looks Christmassy, and then I found another page that shows that you're actually making boxes. So how fun is that? In fact, here's an example of the box. But you've got stamps, you've got some embellishments, twine. I'm sure there's going to be ink. Yep, the ink is Mossy Meadow. So if you're interested in Paper Pumpkin, you've got until November the 10th to sign up for this subscription kit, and then you receive it every month. And if you are, subscribe under me, then every month you're going to get a free tutorial for alternatives. So if you want to utilize the Paper Pumpkin kit to do the and then some or and then more for your paper pumpkins, any subscriber under me receives a free tutorial, and there's 12 additional projects. They're created by myself and 3 amazing designers, demonstrators, and we love to be able to share. So that's going on, and this one looks like a lot of fun. Okay, let's talk about this crafting advent calendar. I have had so much fun with this calendar because my commitment to you was if you purchased it through me, I was going to provide you with a tutorial of 12 projects, 1 project for each door. And I've had so much fun. Now, what I will tell you is even though it's 12 days of crafting advent calendar, and we typically put Advent with Christmas, they're not Christmas supplies. So you're going to be able to use this Advent calendar and all the fun items that are in the Advent calendar. You're going to be able to put them to use anytime. It's not holiday specific, although the Advent calendar itself is the 12 days is holiday specific, but none of the items inside are typically holiday specific. So excited to share that. I've got something planned for later in November, 1st of December. I haven't decided, but anybody who does subscribe will receive that tutorial for free. Or not subscribe, you basically purchase the Advent calendar. Okay, so we've got that. One other thing that I want to show you, because I've had so much fun with this as well, is a kit that I've been playing with. This particular kit is called the Handmade and Heartfelt Kit. The cards in this kit are so fun and so pretty. So I just wanted to show you because I just finished them up. But look at these cards. Thanks so much. Hello, sunshine. Happy birthday. I need a lot of thank you cards, so I decided to mix it up and do many more. Thanks so much. But it comes with everything you need. Plus, it comes with this fun storage box. So even after I'm done sharing all of these cards with everybody, I can use the storage box to continue to store my supplies. But you get stamps, and I was going to look to see because it's, wishing you the best. Do I have that one down there? Nope, wishing you the best. There's to and from, thinking of you. So there's a lot of different things there. Plus you get all the supplies that you need, the twine, the sparkles, the glue, everything you need. Plus you get like a little ink spot as well. So I just finished up my kit, had so much fun with it, and I just wanted to share it with you. It's called the Handmade and Heartfelt Kit. All right, moving along, more things to share with you. I've got several projects going on right now, and one of the things that I wanted to share with you is my holiday sets that I've got. The handmade and heartfelt kit that I just shared with you would make a perfect gift for somebody. But I've also got some things that you guys can do for yourselves. If you love to create your own Christmas cards, if you love to create your own Christmas tags and share those with your friends and family, you can do that. Or you can actually, if you know somebody who likes to create their own tags, for example, or their Christmas cards, for example, you can purchase these kits. So I'm going to start with the tags because the tags are pretty much all inclusive. You get this fun little gift box, and then underneath this tray, you're going to have a package of 6x6 designer series paper, the Christmas tags and more that you're going to utilize to create the tags. And you'll get a tutorial explaining. It's mostly pictures because the fun part about this particular kit is that you can design it however you want to design it. I'm providing you all the pieces that you need. You've got the base of the tag, you've got the overlay of the tag, you've got dimensionals, you've got your twine. These are gift cards, so you can decorate the gift cards, and I show you pictures for all of these so you can create your own, or you can create them the way that I created them. But we've got this set, and then I also have, oh, and I can actually show you some of these tags. I've got them in here. So look how pretty these turn out. And you will have all the supplies that you need to create all of these. Those were the gift cards. And then you've got all of these gift tags. I'm not gonna go through all of them, but oh my gosh, look how pretty these are. And you guys can do this and create, and then your packages will have your homemade, handmade, I should say, gift cards and tags on it. Okay, so you're gonna get all of that with your kit. And then I also have a second kit that utilizes the Christmas greenery bundle. You'll definitely want to have this bundle on hand because you're going to be utilizing the dies that come in this bundle. You can use whatever stamps you want to use to stamp your cards, but basically I'm calling this a Stamp-A-Stack. And the Stamp-A-Stack is you're going to get 4 cards times 4. So you're going to create 4 of each one of these cards. And you're going to get everything you need. You're going to get the cardstock. You're going to get a half pack of the designer series paper. You're going to get a half package of the embellishments, but everything that you need to create 16 cards. And then if you want to create more than 16 cards, you can just get 2 sets. But these 2 sets are sold separately. You can go out to my aprildaviscreations.com and look under the blog, and the information will be there. But they can also be combined together. And if you combine them together, then you're gonna save some money, because I discounted the price simply because I would be shipping together, and so I'd be saving on shipping. So that's one of my projects that I've got. Then I wanna share with you my clubs that we have. Am I frozen? Please tell me I'm not frozen. I'm okay, good. This is my Create Happiness Club. Now this club is every other month. It's bi-monthly. And this month we're utilizing the Ornamental Christmas. I'm gonna move this over so you can see the Ornamental Christmas bundle. But check out these cards. We've got a shaker card. I'm just loving, loving, loving these Christmas cards. But you're gonna get everything you need to create 6 cards, and then you also get 2 ornaments. So let me show you these ornaments. How pretty are those? So you get 2 ornaments, and then you are going to get the designer series paper. You're going to get a full pack of the foam adhesive strips, and you're gonna get a full pack of the black and white gold baker's twine, because you're going to be using a lot of baker's twine on this. So this registration is open through the 31st of this month. It is, and then I invoice every other month for it. So it's not an automatic, I invoice for it, but it is a subscription club. All right, now one more to go. I want to make sure I don't have any crashes with all this stuff I've got. We've got a few more days left for the Crafting Happiness Club. And the Crafting Happiness Club features the Gathering Moments bundle this time around. And let me show you, I've got so much on my tray, but let me show you the cute, cute cards that you're going to be making with this month's, for October, set. You're going to make 4 cards, 2 of each card, okay? You're gonna get a half a pack of designer series paper. You're gonna get a full pack of early espresso linen thread. You're going to get enough of the embellishments to create your cards. So there's gonna be plenty of embellishments. You're not gonna get a full pack because I'm using 3 different embellishments on these cards. So what I'm doing is I'm mixing and maxing and combining. But you're gonna receive everything that you need. The only thing you need to make sure you have is your Gathering Moments stamp set. This particular kit is a monthly kit. It's automatic when you sign up for it, and then it just bills every month to your card. But this registration closes on the 20th, and then I'll start advertising the November Crafted Happiness Club. All right, so let me move this out of the way because I want to talk about the cards for this month, for this to-go class. So we are going to be utilizing the Etched Autumn stamp. It's not a bundle, it's just a stamp. So mostly what we're going to be talking about today is technique. I'm going to share 3 different cards and how we created them utilizing a technique, because this is basically a background stamp. And let me just show you. I've got it on my stamp positioner, my stamp apparatus. If you've got a stamp positioner, this is going to come in really, really handy for you. If you don't, you just need a big block, but you need to be able to get pressure on the entire stamp. So we're going to bring this back in a minute. Let me show you the cards. So the first card we've got is a Happy Autumn card. And then I have a Gather card. And then I have an Autumn Wishes card. And these are all done with the one stamp. But I'm going to show you how to create all these cards. And I'm going to actually take myself down now. Whoops, I thought I was going to take myself down. I'm going to take myself down. Maybe. Let's try this again. Over here. There we go. So that I'm not in the way so you can see what we're doing. We're going to start with the Happy Autumn card. So let me pull that particular kit out and show you what we've got. 1 second. Here we go. So I have a piece of basic white cardstock. I have a sheet of watercolor cardstock. So this is watercolor paper. Stampin' Up! Does sell watercolor paper. It's going to work best with watercolor. Let me see. Do I have my brush? Yes, I do have my brush. So I'm going to show you how we're going to use this. You can, the other 2 projects that I have, I did not use watercolor paper for. So don't feel like you have to have watercolor. But for this particular one, I'm going to show you how we're doing that. Then I've got a piece of Early Espresso cardstock for a layer. And then I'm going to pull these out. But I've got my Happy Autumn die cuts that we did. And I will die cut these for you for the kit. In fact, where is my, I must have not, oh, words for the season. Please tell me this is it. Yeah, this is it. I used words for the season to create this. I'm going to take that down. So you've got sentiments, but then you also have words. And that's what I did to die cut those. So we'll talk about those when we get to it. But right now I want to show you the technique. So I'm going to put these back in just so that I don't lose them. Make sure my pieces are together. Okay, and we'll move this out of the way. So the first thing that I'm going to do is we are going to work on the watercolor part of it. So I'm going to bring my my stamp apparatus back in. This is going to be the stamp positioner of choice for this particular technique. And I have a little plate in here that's sticky, and then I can put this in and my paper will stick to it so I don't have to worry about using the magnets. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be trimming this down, so I don't really need to worry about where I'm placing it. I just need to make sure that it's going to be covered by my stamp, and it is going to be covered by my stamp. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start inking things up. And let me see, I've got my water painter. I've got a little bottle of water here. And I am going to, before we stamp, or I'm going to color it in and then we're going to stamp, right? So actually what I could do, let me pull this out for just a second so I don't confuse you. Let's just work from this right now and then we'll do the stamping. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to mist my paper, right? And then I've got various inks that we're going to use. So I'm going to bring in, I actually was working with my big ones, but I'm going to work with these smaller ones because I feel like I can get further with these. And I'm just going to use my glass mat. So I'm going to take my ink and I'm just going to stamp it off. And then what I can do is I can take my water painter, and Stampin' Up! Has brought the water painters back. So I'm going to add some water to this, get this all nice and juicy. And then I can go in and I can just start splotching water around. And I'm just going to try to, I need to get it wetter. So I'm going to get it wetter. But what I want to do is I just want to get water onto the paper. And I want to get color onto the paper. And it's a hot mess right now. Not to worry about it. You're not going to see my hot mess when I get done with this. So I'm trying, and I'm going to start with my lighter color. And I'm going to mist that a little bit more. I need to probably get some more ink down. The first color I'm using is crushed curry. And again, just getting color down. Hot mess. Okay. Some can be lighter, some can be darker. I'm just getting it down. And in fact, I'm looking for, did I bring, I'd like to have one of my larger water painters, but it doesn't look like I made it over here. So I'm going to clean this up. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my next color. So I'm going to clean that up. And I'm going to go with Calypso Coral. And with my water painter, I can just clean off my brush, just squeeze and the water out, and I can clean out the brush. So now I'm going to add more water. And I'm going to get this wet. And I'm going to start to put more water down here. Now, what I might decide to do is grab my larger paintbrush. My paper is drying, but I'm putting more water down. Again, hot mess, not to worry about it, guys. It's going to turn into something amazing. But I want to get more color down. But the whole key is to have the water. So if it's getting too dark or too dry and you don't like the texture or how it's going down, you can go ahead and, add more water to it. Because that's the whole intent for this. And that's really why with this you want to use the watercolor paper. Okay, so let me see. I think maybe I want a little bit more darkness. Darkness here. So I'm just going to start splotching. Dark here. A little bit dark here. I'm going into darker colors, so I'm not too terribly worried about how dark everything is. Let me come up here. Okay, I'm going to wipe this away, clean off my brush, and let's go ahead and let's do some Cajun Craze. So I'm going to put Cajun Craze down. You can see how dark that is. I'm going to do some more spritzing, and we'll get some water onto this. And let's go ahead and see how it feathers out. So it's starting to have some fun now. All right, so I'll put some here, and I'm going to do some here. This one's a little dry down here. So this is it's a lot of fun because it's just haphazard. I'm really not trying to get, it doesn't matter if it doesn't look good. I don't care if it doesn't look good. It's supposed to be a hot mess. And sometimes, we're trying to be perfect with everything. And so it's kind of fun to have a project where I don't have to really worry about being perfect. I just need to get some color down. All right, now I'm putting down the cherry cobbler. Again, same thing. And I'm going to start filling in some of these spaces here. So continue to do this. They bleed into each other. Get my color down. Okay. This technique, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's very similar, if not the same as, is it Joseph's Dream Coat? Joseph's? It's called Joseph something, but I all I can think about is the play Joseph Technicolor Dream Coat, and then I think of Donny Osmond and but you'll see as we go along, you may have seen something like this previously. All right, so I'm just getting color down. How pretty is that looking? Oh my goodness, does it look like fall leaves? All right, I'm trying to get more color down. I want my color to be intense in some places. So I think what I want to do, and I'm coloring everything. Granted, I'm going to actually kind of cut off some of this because I'm not going to be utilizing this big of a piece of paper in my project. But let me see. Do I want, I think we're just gonna go with it. You can make it as light or as dark as you want, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get my brush cleaned up. So I'm just squeezing the water out, and eventually the brush comes clean. I'm done using the brush, but I don't want to leave that ink in my brush if I can help it. All right, so we're going to move all this off to the side. I'm going to keep that ink out. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in my heat gun, and I can't stamp on this while it is wet. And I want to show you how we're going to do this. So I'm going to pick this up for just a second so I can wipe it off underneath. And then we're going to start to dry this, and then we can stamp. So, sorry for the loud noise, but again, today's to-go class is really more about technique. So we're going to get this dry, and I want to get it good and dry because we are going to actually be embossing on it. So I'm looking off to the side to make sure. You can kind of tell when it's dry because the gloss kind of goes away. So let me turn this over. It's still a little damp. I'm gonna heat it up on this side as well. If you have time, you could do this and then walk away and then come back at a later time to work on it. I don't have time to do that. So I am going to dry this for you now. And I did get it pretty wet. So, but look how pretty those colors are. All right, we're still drying. And the next step, because the dampness will, the embossing powder will stick to it. So I want to make sure that I get this dried up, and it's going to work just a little bit, but we'll use adhesive to get it to lay flat. Let me see. It's actually really pretty dry. So let me finish this up, and then what I'm going to do is we will put it on our stamp apparatus, and we'll move next to the stamping part. So this is dry now. Okay, I did not pull out my clear embossing powder. Not quite sure why I didn't. I pulled out all the other colors, but I'm gonna pull this out because this is gonna be our next step. So let me move this off to the side, and we're gonna bring the stamp apparatus back in. All right. So I'm just going to place this down so that when I cover it with my stamp, it's completely covered. I'll go ahead and get that down. And then I'm going to prep it like I prep everything. We need to do that specifically with this because it was wet, right? So I'm going to take my powder bag, my embossing buddy, and basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to keep the powder from sticking anywhere except for the Versamark that we're going to use. So now we've got this ready to go. I'm going to bring in the Versamark, and I'm going to go ahead and ink up my stamp. And I want to make sure I get plenty of ink on it. And I'm going to make sure that it's pushed up into the corner. I'm using my little sheet. Hold on a minute, you guys, because the sheet is not holding my paper, and I want it to hold my paper. Normally it does, but I think it's because well, number one, because it's, I want to make sure my magnets are out of the way. Because it's watercolor paper, it might not be sticking. Plus I put the powder over it, and that might be why it's not sticking. And so I want to make sure that I have everything in place before I ink it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this again. And I'm going to turn it over. It's in the corner because I may need to re-ink it again is what I'm trying to say. The long way around it. And then I'm just using a little tool that I had. You can use a felt eraser. It just helps me to get coverage over all of the stamp. but I want to get good coverage. And I noticed with this stamp, for some reason, that there's one little area that I just have to press a little bit harder. I don't know why that is. I'm going to lift this up and I'm going to actually ink it up one more time. I want to get good coverage. And part of it also, when you're stamping on watercolor paper, the texture is different. So it takes a little bit more effort to get the ink to go where you need it to go. So I'm really pushing down on this. But I think I'm good. So I'm ready to move to my next step. So I'm going to lift this up. I'm going to move this off to the side because we are going to use this again. So let me pull this out. It's stuck a little bit. Move this out of the way. And now I've got my clear embossing powder. So let me move this out of the way. I've got a spoon that I brought out that's going to help me with this. And we are going to put embossing powder over this. And you'll be able to see, because this is white embossing powder, but can you see how it's starting to adhere to where I have stamped it with Versamark? So we're going to get this totally covered. Make sure I get plenty. And then I'm going to turn it this way. And we're going to get the rest of it. Didn't go down all the way, but I want to make sure that I'm getting it totally covered. So again, trying to get this done up so that I have everything has embossing powder on it. Okay. So can you guys see that? Let me see. Let me bring it this way. And then I can kind of tilt it for you guys to see. But it has clear embossing powder over it. All right, so let's move this out of the way. Getting kind of messy here. I'm going to move this out of the way, and we are going to now heat emboss. All right, move that out of the way. Bring this back in. Bring out my heat tool. And let me see. I'm going to start to melt this embossing powder. And you guys may not be able to see it. I'll show it to you again, but I'm looking to see that it's melted. And as soon as it's melted, I move on. I don't want to stay in any one area very long because I need it to melt, but I don't want it to melt into the paper. So I'm just making sure that it is getting melted, and then I'm moving on. We're almost done. Okay, I think I'm done. I'm going to give it a quick look to make sure that I didn't miss any pieces. I don't know, you guys probably can't even see that it's done, but it is. I'm just giving it a quick look again. I think I'm going to give it another hit right down here at the bottom. Okay. All right, now we are ready for our next step. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your dark ink. You can use black, you can use whatever dark ink you want to use. I am using Early Espresso. Let me see if I can get this powder off of here. I'm using Early Espresso, but what you're going to do, and this is where the magic happens, you're going to take your Early Espresso, and again, I just have better luck using the smaller cubes. You always wonder, why would I have small cubes when I can use the large cubes? For me, this particular technique is easier, and I'm just going to start spinning this around. And the goal is to fill in all the dark areas. So I really have to push on this, but you can kind of see that things are starting to happen. And I may have to bring out the dark because maybe I don't have enough, or the big one because I don't have enough. I've done this technique several times now. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get my ink. Let me bring out the big one, Early Espresso. I'm trying to get the ink down in the areas that do not have embossing powder. So let's go ahead and, whoop, maybe I need to go this way. Yeah, so we're gonna go this way. And I'm gonna ink, and you can see that it's starting to fill in. You have to put several layers on it. And not to worry, because we're going to cut this down, but the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to basically kind of polish this as soon as we get the ink down. I want the ink down on everything that's not embossed. So I can sit and push, and you can start to see how our leaves are starting to emerge. You want to make sure that you're using a well-inked ink pad. And I love my glass mat because I can make a mess on my glass mat and I don't have to worry about it. So I'm good with that. So I'm going to go ahead and close these up. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a paper towel and I'm just going to polish off the top because I don't want the ink sitting on the areas that were embossed, right? And see what's happened? All that color that we had, that we clear embossed on, is now part of the card. Okay, let's clean this mess up just a little bit. Let me move this out of the way, move this out of the way, and then we'll get back to creating the rest of the card. I didn't say that this was a clean activity, but it is a lot of fun. All right, there you go. Can't even tell, right? All right, so we're going to bring this back in. And the next thing that we want to do is we want to cut this down so that it fits our card base. So I know my card base, I believe I cut it at 4 1/8 by, let me double check it, 4 1/8, yes, by 5 3/8. That's my card base, or my layer. So I'm going to cut this down. I'm going to cut one edge off, and I can see where the edge is. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut that down, and then I'm going to cut this edge down, and then we will cut it to 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to take, whoops. So I'm going to take this to 4 this way. Okay. So now I have to decide, I want to keep some of that. So I've got plenty that I can cut down. So let me see, let's do 5 1/4. Okay, I've got plenty of room there. So let me cut this down. I'm just whittling away at it till I get all the leaves in here that I want to have. I definitely want this side. So we're going to do 4 here. And we're going to do 5 1/4 here. All right, so this is still a bit wet. So I should have probably used my heat tool to dry the ink. I didn't, but that's okay. I have handy dandy wipes. So we'll go ahead and do this. But I don't want it to hold us up because I've got 2 other cards I want to show you. But I want to show you how this all works. The other thing you could do if you wanted to, and if you do it, I would do it with a light hand, is you can take your baby wipe and just very gently go over the top of your card, and that will help to remove any additional ink that you might have sitting on top of your embossing. But look at that. Isn't that pretty? All right, let me get this cleaned up, and we are going to start to assemble this card. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring in, I need to make sure I got this all clean. Okay, we're going to bring in my card base, and my card base is white, so I definitely want to make sure that my hands are pretty clean. Okay, so we're going to bring this in and fold it to and burnish it so we can crease the center. And my hands are still a little wet, that's why I'm holding it like this. But now what I can do is I can take my glue, and I am going to put my glue on the back of this. And you can see it's just a different texture, this watercolor paper. But with all the water that we used, this is what you want to use for this. If you don't want to use watercolor paper, you're just going to have to be really careful. Because the other thing is paper, the regular paper will start to, is it pill? Is that the right word? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this placed down. And did I not cut this? Yeah, the edges are very, so there's just a tiny bit of a border showing. So I'm just going to go ahead and help the glue disperse. And then if you wanted to, you could take this and you could put it on dimensionals. I'm not going to put this one on dimensionals, but we're going to go ahead and we are going to get this glued down. All right, and then we will work on our sentiment. So for this one, I decided I'm going to turn it this way again, just because my hands are kind of a mess. So we've got this. So this is the start of our card. Now I'm going to bring in my lettering again, and I want to show you a couple different things. So first off, let me make sure I've got everything out of here. The card that I made previously, I don't know if you can see the dimension. I wanted to emboss my foil. This is gold foil. And I did. But the problem is that the embossing folder, I don't know if it's because it's the gold foil or what, but it embosses very deep. And so what was happening is it was cutting my letters apart. So I decided for demonstration purposes for you guys that we wouldn't do that. So I'm just using the gold foil, and I've already cut it out of the gold foil. But let's go ahead and put this together. I'm going to show you what we're going to do. So this is one of my letters that got cut off. Let's go ahead. I need to get this turned around. The reason that I have these in brown is because I wanted some dimension. And as you can imagine, it would be hard getting dimension on these little letters. So the way that you get dimension is you cut out several of these letters and then you just glue them all together. So I'm going to bring in my silicone mat and we are going to glue these letters together, and this is going to give me dimension. It doesn't take very much time. I'm just going to go ahead and get set up here, and we are going to go to town with gluing these letters together because it doesn't take much glue. And I have my precision point glue. I use the regular Stampin' Up! Glue, but I'm just going to use the precision point, and I'm just going to do little dots. It doesn't take a lot, but we'll do the little dots of glue that you guys can see. And I'll just glue these together. So anytime you have something that you want to have dimension and it's just too small, it doesn't have to be lettering, right? It could be just a flower or something. If you want to get some dimension to it, then just cut out several of them and glue them together. And for me, I decided to cut it out of the early espresso rather than waste my gold. My gold, you only need to see it from the top, right? So this way my dimension, if you will, is the same color. It's kind of almost a shadow effect. I'm afraid I'm gonna get too much out. A shadow effect. So you'll see here in just a second as we put this together, but I'm gonna take this, and if you need to, you can use tweezers to put these together. But once I get them on, then I can just kind of move them around so that they're matching up. So we have those, and then we'll do this one. So these cards aren't hard to do. They're just a little bit more involved, but what you get by taking the time to do this is so fun. All right. Plus, when you look at a big stamp like the Etched Autumn, it's like, what do you do with a background stamp like that? So these are some ideas of things that you can do. All right, let's get this happy, and then we're gonna put our gold on and we'll be ready to move forward. I'm being very careful with my glue, so I'd rather have hardly any come out than squeeze too hard and have a lot come out. So sometimes I have to kind of tap a few times to get some glue on here because, like I said, I don't want more glue than I need. Alrighty, let's get this together. Okay, these are now together. So the next step is going to be to bring in my gold. So we're going to go ahead and get a little bit more on here. I suppose if you wanted to, I'm going to go ahead and put several drips down so I can do a couple of these at a time. If you wanted to, you could use the double stick tape, meaning you would put the tape on and then die cut. The problem that I have with that is I want to make sure I get these lined up appropriately, and if it's already got tape on the back, I may not have the flexibility to get it lined up the way that I want it lined up. So I would just as soon mess with the glue and be able to manipulate it a little bit than worry about you perhaps tearing it, because I was looking for the quick fix, if you will. This doesn't take a long time, but you do have to be a little bit more patient with it because you're trying to line up all these letters. And the other thing is using the dark underneath. What's fun about that is it almost kind of, provides like a little shadow effect. So if I didn't get it lined up exactly as I'm putting the gold on, it doesn't really make a difference because it just kind of looks like a little shadow effect. So let's get this done. But I do love the dimension rather than having everything one-dimensional. I love dimension, and you guys know this because I pretty much put dimensionals on everything I do. But this is another way to add dimension without utilizing the dimensionals. And because these are so thin, if you will, it would be much harder to do the dimensionals. Oh, I see my P. Hold on a second. I've got one little area that I need to pop out. So I'm going to do this, pop that out. There we go. And then my magnet has found my tweezers. How do you like that? So we'll go ahead and get this lined up, and then I'm going to get my 8A, and then we can apply these. So if I wanted to, I could use my tweezers to help lay this. I do a better job if I'm not using the tweezers, though, it seems. All right, there we go. It's sliding around. That's why I use glue. I want it to slide. Okay, so now we have our sentiment, if you will. Happy Autumn. So I'm going to bring the card back in. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to, give me just a second, I'm pulling it out around everything. I've got a little T-square that I use, a T-square ruler that I use. And so I'm going to kind of line it up here, and we're going to place my happy first. So I'm going to turn these over, and I'm going to add glue to the backs because I'm going to glue these down too. So we'll go ahead and get the glue down for the happy. I don't want to get too much glue, but at the same time, I need to do a little bit more than I normally would because I'm putting this onto embossed. Embossed is kind of shiny, and I don't want to say plasticky, but when the embossing powder melts, it does become like a clear coating, and I just want to make sure that my glue adheres appropriately. So I'm going to put not a ton of glue. You can see that I'm just doing little dots, but I do want to get enough glue down. All right, so I am going to bring in my tweezers, and it looks like I need a little bit glue right down here. It was drying, so we're going to do a little bit there, and then I'm going to place my happy. So I'm going to line this up. Whoop, 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 whoop. Hold on. I want to get it. I think I'm going to line it up with the edge of the there we go. And then I'm just going to hold it. All right. The print that I did. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the H down. Make sure it gets held. And then I'm going to turn this over, and obviously the happy is going to drop below the H, so I'm just going to get it lined up to start, and then I'll move this out of the way a bit. Okay. So I have my happy. Now, isn't that pretty? And we'll do the same thing for autumn. So turn this over, and we're going to get our glue on again. little bit more over here. Okay. And I'm going to move it down. I'm not sure where I want my autumn to go. I think I'm going to go to the side of the H. So what I want to make sure I have enough room, let's see, underneath. So I think maybe I'm going to go up just a little bit. I think right here. We're going to be fairly close. But we've got autumn, and then we'll take the rest of it and we're going to place it right here. And this just helps me to get a little bit more level and even, oh, but you got to make sure it gets stuck. All right, there we go. So now we have Happy Autumn. How pretty is that? So the last thing we're going to do is I'm going to bring in some bling that I've got. This is the Druzy Adhesive Back Embellishments. And what I'm going to do with these embellishments is let me see, where's my take your pick? Did I pull it out? It's right here. Let's take, and I'm going to put, let's see, that's got a little bit of fuzz on it. I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, there. And then I'm actually going to do it again. And we're going to put 1. So this is going to be a blingy card. 2. Oops. 3. I need to adjust this one just a little bit. It's a little lopsided over here. All right, let me move this stuff out of the way. I don't want to take away from the card. But here we go. Isn't that a pretty Happy Autumn card? And see all the color popping through, and you could make the color even more intense, but I'm really pleased with how that turned out. So card number 1. So let's talk about card number 2. Let me move this out of the way. And card number 2 is going to be this card. So how do we do this one? Well, let me show you. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp again. And this time, let me pull the kit out. The kit is it this one? Yes, it is this one. So I'm using Basic Beige as my card base. I've got a basic beige layer that we're going to stamp on. I have got a Cajun Craze layer. And then this is going to be for our sentiment, and that's it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our stamping done first. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my card base or my layer in here, and I want to make sure I've got enough of it covered. We're going to cut it down most likely. So I've got this covered, and this time we are going to use the Versamark again, and we're going to emboss it in bronze. So let me bring my Versamark in. So we're going to go ahead and get this embossed. And I stuck down, so I'm going to make sure it's in the corner. Use my little tool to help me get a good pressure on it. And I am going to look at this and see, it looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to pull this up and move this off to the side again. Close out my Versamark. Trying to keep my area clean so things aren't getting in the way. All right, now we're going to do this in bronze, or actually we're going to do it in copper. So I brought my copper embossing powder in, and we'll pick this up, and I've got a spoon here, and we are going to cover this in the copper. I'll hold it this way. Because we have to make sure that we get the entire page covered. Turn it this way. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I should have. It's looking pretty good. I think I'm going to be safe, but I should have used my embossing buddy. Oops. Oh well. The embossing buddy prevents the powder from sticking to areas that you don't want it to stick. I pretty much want it to stick to all of the areas, although I can see a few places here that it's sticking. Whoa. So I'm gonna be extra careful with it. But I wanna make sure I get good coverage of everything too. So I'm just double checking to make sure I got everything. Whoops, don't wanna get it on my fingers, which I did. All right, I think this one area here, and then we'll be ready to emboss. And let's see. Yeah, that looks good. All right, let me close this up, move it out of the way so we don't have any disasters. I am going to bring my heat gun in, and we are going to actually, there's one area here. I'm just gonna see if I can tap it away. I see some speckles of embossing powder. It's not gonna hurt anything. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's not gonna hurt anything, but if I can move it. And if I'd used my embossing buddy, I probably wouldn't have had that problem. But anyway, okay, let's go ahead and let's get this embossed. And I'm just gonna hold this in place, put on the heat tool again. And this one you can really see when it starts to turn. So it's gonna get heated up, and then you can see it start to turn. Hopefully you guys can see it start to turn. The other thing I'm noticing is where the embossing or the Versamark was dark or thicker, the copper is thicker. I'm going to move this away for just a second so I can turn this around so we can get, and where it was lighter, the embossing was lighter, which is kind of a cool technique in itself. Let me go ahead and get this all melted, and then I'll show you what it looks like. All right, let me double check to make sure we got everything. Can you guys see that in the light? Isn't that, oh, it's so pretty. So pretty. I think I need a little bit more on the edges here. Double checking, I think I do. A little bit, whoops, turn it this way. Yeah, you can see where you haven't. And if you don't get it melted, then you will definitely know. Let me do a little bit more down here. Whoops. Because it's powder, and if it's not melted, then it will kind of wash away. Okay, I've got another little spot right here and up at the top. So I'm gonna go here, and then come here. Oh yeah. All right, double checking again. It's a big piece, so. Okay, I think I see a little bit right here. Maybe a little bit light. Okay. I don't want to overheat, but I need to make sure that I've gotten everything. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so the next step then is we are going to color in our leaves. And this time I'm going to introduce you to a new tool, and this is the blender pen. It may not be new to you, but we use the water painters for the first one. We're going to use the blender pen for the next one. And basically we're going to do exactly what we did before. We're going to tap out your ink, and then you're going to take the blender pen, and it has some sort of a chemical in it. I wish I could tell you what it is, but you're going to just pick up your color, and then you can go to your paper, and I just want to color my leaves in. So we've got, and I'm going to color them in different colors. So this particular kind of leaf I'm going to do in yellow, and you know, another leaf I may decide that I want to do in pumpkin pie or cherry cobbler. So you basically, with your blender pen, and I'm going to bring one of my yucky paper towels back out, but basically to clean your blender pen, you just swish it over your marker or your paper, and it's all cleaned up. I'm going to clean this up and I'm going to do one more leaf, and then we'll continue on. So let me take some of this dark, and I can pick up the color now, and let's see, I want to color this one in. And what's fun about this is you can do it as light or as dark. So I could fan this out just a little bit so that I have like some part of my leaf that's light and part of my leaf that's dark. You can add more color, but it's fun because literally you're coloring. And you, obviously I'm doing this with the leaves, but this blender pen and utilizing it to color in whatever you've stamped is actually a lot of fun. So I enjoy using the blender pen a lot. And then basically what you do is you just color it all in, and I'm going to clean this up so I don't leave it in my blender pen. And it might be stained, but it's ready to go for the next round. And then I'm going to take and clean this up. I love my glass mat. And then I'll find a nice clean spot on my towel, and then I'm just going to kind of brush over the top so that I get the ink off of my my leaves. Okay, so by the magic of YouTube, we are now ready to start building this card. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it down. So I got to move stuff out of the way because I got stuff blocking my way here. We'll start building this card, and then we're going to do the sentiment. So let me bring this in, and we are going to cut this card down to 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to turn it over this way because I've already got one edge cut. So I'm just going to turn it over this way so I have the edge that hasn't been cut. So here's this one, and then we're going to go to 5 1/4 so I can cut it down this way. And now I've got nice even edges all the way around. How pretty is that? Move this out of the way. I'm going to bring in my Cajun Craze layer, and we are going to glue this down. So once I find my glue, there it is. Find my glue. We'll get this glued down. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it like this. And get it all centered up the way that I want it. And I'm just going to use this to, since it's embossed, I just want to give it a little bit more pressure. Okay, and then we can bring in our card base, which is also basic beige. So go ahead and do this. And I've got embossing powder on my glass mat. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and get this adhered down. Let's see, I'm going to do this side. So we'll get this down, and then we will work on our sentiment. Because I want to show you a die cutting trick if you haven't seen it before, but I'll show you that in just a second. Let's get this ready to go. Okay, so now we've pretty much got our card done. We just need to get our sentiment on it, right? So I'm just going to use this scrap for my sentiment. And our sentiment, we're actually going to be stamping in the copper as well. So I'm going to bring out my Stamping Buddy. Get this all written or powdered up. We're going to be using the stamp from Gathering, what is it called? Gathering Moments. I'm going to use this one because I wanted to say gather. So again, we're going to use the Versamark. Go ahead and get this inked up with the Versamark. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp it. Make sure I get a good transfer. There we go. And I'll clean that up pretty soon. Let's go ahead and get this, some embossing powder on this. Okay, I've got a little bit right there, but it looks good. So we're gonna go ahead and get that heated up. Bringing out today's embossing day, heat embossing day. I love embossing. I really, really do. Okay, so we have Gather. I don't know if you can see the shine on that. This copper is really pretty. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use traditional labels to cut this out. And I want to use this circle label. All right, here's the deal. With this die, there are 2 cuts. And, whoops, guess I need to come over. Hello. There are 2 cuts. And I think I can probably show you on a label that I did before. See how it cuts into it? Can you see that? Cuts into it. This particular part of the cut does stick into the die. And if you're not careful when you are pulling it out, it will tear because it's cut into it. I love the effect, but you've got to be really careful. So one way that I keep that from happening is I want it to release as easy as possible. So I'm going to use a piece of wax paper, and I'm looking for my mint tape, but I'm going to use a piece of wax paper, and I'm going to put the wax paper between my die and my paper. So I get this layered where I want it to be, or centered where I want it to be. And then I'm just going to put a piece of tape. It's going to hold the die. It's going to hold the wax paper. It's going to hold my cardstock. I'll bring in my mini cut and emboss. I'm going to bring in my plates, and we're going to line this up, and we'll just send it on through. Let's go this way. But I want you to watch how easy this comes apart. Let me move this out of the way because I've used the wax paper. So we're going to pull this off, and look, it came out. I didn't even have to pull. It just came out. Wax paper, if you remember to use it, it's magic. It's just magic. Now what I can do, let me pull this off of here. It's on my magnets again. Let's see, where's my, basically what's happened is my plate is such that it's just kind of cut into my plate. My plates are well loved, right? All right, so now what we can do is we can just pull the wax paper off. Pull the wax paper off. Let me make sure I got it all off. I think there's still some on here maybe. Did I get it all off? 1, 2, 3, 4. I did get it all off. Okay, it's off. How easy was that? I'm going to bring this back in. Put my die over here so I don't lose it. And now what I'll do is I'll take some dimensionals, and we are going to, oops, pop this up, of course, because I like dimensionals. And did I get those off? Didn't get that one off. All right, now they're off. Okay. And we'll take the gather and we'll place it right here in the center. Make sure I got it where I want it. Press it down, and we have now card number 2. How fun is that? Look at all that shine, all that copper that's shining. What a great fall card. All right, card number 2 and card number 3 is the easiest of all of them. That's why I saved it for last. So this is card number 3, and basically what we're going to do with card number 3 is we are using very vanilla cardstock. We are using Cajun Craze paper, and I've already, since we've already done one label, I went ahead and did the other label. So the only thing that we're really going to be doing on this one is embossing. But I wanted to show you how sometimes just embossing will make a huge difference on the card. So we're going to bring my, I just lost my paper. We're going to bring the Stamparatus back in. I've still got my stamp on it. I'm going to grab my paper. I'm going to remember to use my embossing buddy. I just want to make sure that I have, yep. Okay, so embossing buddy is right here. Let me get this down. Make sure I get plenty of powder on it. I don't want it sticking anywhere I don't want it to stick. We're going to ink this up. Make sure I get plenty of Versamark on it. And flip this over, use my tool. Okay, and you can see, I think I'm gonna try to press a little bit more right here. That looks good. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop this off. I'm gonna set it over here for the moment so that I can move this out of the way. And this time we are going to emboss in gold. So I'm gonna bring my gold embossing in. Pick up the edge here, handy dandy spoon. And we're gonna go ahead and get gold embossing powder over all of this. And then I'm gonna flip it around so I can get the other side. So, so pretty. Okay. Make sure I got it everywhere I want it to be. I believe I do. So let's go ahead and close this up. I'll bring my heat tool back in again. And here we go. Watch it melt. Around. Oops. Can you guys see it turning on camera? All right, let me double check, make sure I got everything. Looking. It looks good. Look how pretty that is, guys. So, so pretty. Trying to get a good light on it. Wow. Okay, that's all we're doing. That is it. So we're going to cut it down. So we are going to cut it down. I'm not even doing a layer behind it. So let's go ahead and fold this in half. I don't think I even scored this. So we're going to go ahead and fold this in half. And I'm going to cut this down to 4 by 5 1/4. 4 by 5 1/4. So let's go this way. This is 5 1/4 this way. I'm checking something. I think I've just got 5 1/4 this way. Whoop. And we'll do 4 this way. Do I want this side? Okay, yeah, 4. Okay. I feel like, well, it melted. I feel like I'm feeling this. I'm going to take my heat tool here real quick and just touch a couple of things. Because sometimes I feel like the powder, it looked like it was melted, but I just want to kind of double check and make sure it was heat set. All right, let's go ahead and put some glue on the back of this. Plenty enough glue. Make sure it's opening up the right way. Okay, let's go ahead and get this down. We're going to go this way. Why does that not look right? Let me, hold on a second, guys. Hold on a second. I'm going to pull this up real quick because something's not looking right. This card base should be 4 1/4. Gosh, I got glue here. 4 1/4. Oh, yes, it's way more than 4 1/4. I'm going to cut that off real quick. Just didn't look right. All right. Now let's try this again. I'm like, something's wrong with this picture. So I got to put more glue on the back because it's not wiggling for me. And that little blender right there, it's going to be covered up, so I'm not worried. All right, let's put this down again. And scooch this over a tad. There we go. Okay. Yay! All right, what happened to my autumn? Here's my autumn wishes. Let's go ahead and get some dimensionals here. And take your pick. We'll take the backs off. Get these out of the way. Come on, come on, come on. Out of the way. Okay. And then we're just going to center this in the middle of the card. Oh my goodness. Just makes such a huge difference. And then the last thing we're going to do just to finish this card off, I didn't put any bling on the last card, so we're going to put bling on this card. I did on the example, but I didn't because I know that I'm a little bit over time today. But when you're doing techniques like this, you just kind of, you do go over time. All right, so there's do that. And I'll tell you what these are here in just a second. I'm going to put one here, and I'm going to put one here. Whoop. Hello. I'm going to put one here. Is that where I want them? Okay, these are the flower accents. Get this out of the way. Look at how pretty card number 3 is. Look at that shine. You guys, I know I can't get it for you to be able to see how gorgeous it is on camera, the way that I'm seeing it, but it is so pretty. So this is card number 3. We'll go ahead and bring these back in. So we have card number 3. We have card number 2. Again, look at the sparkle, the shine. Oh, that copper is so pretty. So this is card number 2. And then we have card number 1. And you can see this was the first one that I did. This is the second one I did. They're probably never going to look the same. Doesn't matter how many times I do it. But how fun was all of that? And with one stamp, we used the Etched Autumn background stamp, and we were able to create these cards. So let me come back. I'm going to come back to see you guys for just a quick second. Sorry for going long, but the techniques just take a little bit longer. But I'm so happy to have you here with me. Remember, this is a to-go class, so if you are interested in getting the kit, which is going to be all of the cardstock and everything that you need, the only thing that I won't have in the kit is the stamp set, but you'll have everything else. So go out to my website. All that information is out there. Don't forget about the various specials that we've got going on. And I will be back with you guys again next week. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.